All right, it is Thursday, February 8th, and me and Guy have spent some time together the last 3 days. I'll get to that next, but a couple of his friends they're like a married Reiki healing practitioner, like, couple, and he's been friends with these people forever, and he's just always kind of been, like, really interested in what they do. But, you know, being under the Christian death cult programming, he never really, he never thought this shit was witchcraft like a lot of the heavily brainwashed people do. But he just never understood shit like this. And he brought it up to me a couple of days ago and said that he wanted to talk to them and see if they would possibly be interested in giving us clearings. And he was like, I just wanted to know if you'd be interested in it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. I'm totally interested in it. I don't give a shit. I definitely let him give me an energy clearing. And I think I misspoke whenever I was talking about this shit before. I mean, I've been running too fast with 2 left feet this whole time, but it's not like before when I went off of an old list and I thought that jack off Tony Abbott was still, over there running Australia under the ground or anything. But people that do Reiki clearings and stuff like that, like people who are doing clearings, I don't think that their work is for nothing. And I don't think that they're frauds for not doing J-seal or Draco seal removals. I just don't understand what you're doing if you do not realize that those are real and a problem. This shit seems like beginner phases and like putting a band-aid on a bullet hole compared to how clearing those seal removals probably are energetically. And it's just like, for people who have been doing this shit forever, like, if it's the awareness, like, if these kinds of people do not realize that those things are a problem as well, it's just like, that's where I'm at with it. So, me and Guy ended up having to spend 3 days, the better part of 3 days in New Kensington. And, it was pretty much to help a buddy of his. And, his buddy was tasked with cleaning out a house down there that was foreclosed on. And, Guy mentioned that they were down there getting swallowed whole by this horrific house. And I was just like, well, it's like I could use a little bit of time out of the house, and maybe it would be good for my mental health to take a step away from all of this shit I've been researching. And his buddy is a Hindu, and I like him. He's a really nice guy. And in light of him not being a horrific death cult or anything, I was happy to volunteer to give them a hand. And literally, this place is a fucking shithole. this whole this whole town or city or whatever in the hell this is, it was so difficult being there. And I've heard of it before. Like, I know it's real drug ridden, and I know it's real, has seen better days, like a very long time ago. This place has been run down for a long time, apparently. And it was an African family who literally, I cannot believe people live this way. And these people were like, the guy was a reverend at this Baptist church. And they literally had Jesus Christ shit everywhere, angel shit everywhere, and then padlocks on the outsides of all of their kids' rooms. It was horrific. The place needed condemned, really. Like, the place should be torn down, and I don't see how there's any way of salvaging any of the guts of this house. But these people, this house was so creepy. So fucking creepy. And they hoarded food bank food and ended up having a freezer in the basement with the most putrid, rotten shit inside of it. And it was the entire time having to wear a respirator kind of shit. Like, I can't believe people act this way and live this way. And then the people next door of this place, this African family, they'd come over and go, "Oh, wow, that's a lot of shit. Wow, I can't believe it." I mean, it was the equivalent of 3.5 26-foot U-Hauls worth of fucking garbage. Throughout the entire property, there were probably at least 70 used tampons thrown onto the floors, and crusty underwear, and fucking literally punch marks in the walls of these children. Some of these kids were burning shit, like just burning the walls. Eggs all over the walls. These kids just flipping out, throwing eggs. Like nails and screws shutting the windows type shit. Like a padlock on one of the bed frames in the kids' room. Like, it was like a kid was chained to the bed. And these people would come over and say shit. And they had some kids there. And the kids that I saw went down to the age of about 3. And none of them spoke. If I'd ever seen them, like, just, get taken out to the car or whatever, or back into the house. And then on the other side, it was like the Gallagher family from Shameless. And they're over there telling us that the people on the other side that we've been looking at were the ones who lived in the house in between them that we were cleaning out. I was so pissed off. And then I'm like, oh, I should have recognized them from all of these pictures. This place is so bad. And let me show you where we were on this map. I saw this and was like totally horrified. So here's like New Kensington. And here's the little chart. Obviously, the darker the area, the more dangerous. Damn it! The more dangerous it is. Let me pull this over here. Because where we were was right over in here. Right about here was where we were. and looks like about the darkest, second darkest area like possible, but definitely the darkest area on this map. Horrific. So this is where we started talking about the Reiki shit. And yeah, oh yeah, right in there. Shithole. Sending out good vibes for you. Then I saw, oh man, I saw a couple of really interesting things that I have saved. If I could figure out how to not hit Marketplace and just go find my saved files. So I saved this.
The court system speaks its own language. The court system speaks its own language.
So when you go in for a hearing, they're listening to see if you know who you are. So what the judge is going to determine is what jurisdiction you're going to be in. And so when you know who you are, you know how to answer or respond appropriately. So when the judge asks you, can you hear me? Is he asking to see if the sound and the volume's okay? Can you physically listen and hear him? Or is he asking something else? So a way to answer that would be, define hearing. Are you talking about audible, sound, volume? He wants you under his jurisdiction. What jurisdiction is that? Admiralty law, commerce, commercial law, right? Because when he has jurisdiction over you, that means that the courts have authority over you. The court has jurisdiction over you, meaning you're a ward of the state. So they can determine the outcome because they're a parent corporation. A parent corporation to the corporation that sounds like you but isn't you. So Jane Doe, all caps, sounds like Jane Doe, your family name. So when they say, is Jane Doe here, and you answer yes, you've just subjected yourself under their jurisdiction. So you could say something like, I'm here to address the matter. Friends call me Jane. You can call me Jane. And you're not admitting that you're somehow an all caps name corporation. There's so many little tricks and nuances to the courts. So the more prepared you are, the better off you'll do, and the more tools in your tool belt you'll have. So standing. Developing one's standing comes over time. So we stand, then we stand again, then we stand again. Oftentimes people think it's just one and done, and sometimes you test yourself to see how well you're standing. But the judge is testing you because, do you mean it? Do you really mean it? Are you sure? Are you really sure? In one situation, we heard of the judge asking or saying to the woman, threatening her. The judge says, well, if you don't capitulate to our decision here, the court will not protect you. Well, the question is, was the court ever protecting her? I mean, let's think about it. Who is the judge getting paid by? Oftentimes it's the state. Well, who is the all caps name registered to? The all caps name on your birth certificate. Who is it registered to? It's not registered to you. It's registered to the state. Well, who's the prosecutor being paid by? Well, in situations where it's the state versus blah, 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 it would be the state. The prosecutor is getting paid for by the state. And then what happens when they say, Don't worry. Oh, you can't afford an attorney? That's all right. We'll get one for you. Here's your defense attorney. So now we have the judge, we have the prosecutor, and we also have the defense attorney, all getting paid for by, you guessed it, the state. Does that sound like a conspiracy against rights to you? So, it sounds like a racket to me. That's what it sounds like. So, anyway, just know that when they're asking you something like, can you hear me? They're not exactly asking you because they care about you. They're trying to assert their power over you. And the only way this can be done is with your consent and your signature. Your signature holds more value than anything. That's what they're looking for. They want that signature. So anyway, there's a lot more to it, but you can check us out on americansinaction.info and learn all about exiting the corporation.
All right, so it just seems like if everybody realized how to finagle this corrupt court system where the judges make money off of every single person who is paying child support, that's how you knock down the corrupt ass whole court system. They can't even, literally, if everybody learned their lingo and learned how to finagle this shit, they would not be able to prosecute fucking anybody, it doesn't really look like, because of the whole capitalized name and the whole admiralty law. They are a bunch of fucking assholes, and I can't wait to watch everything fall one of these days. Look at this. This is a great picture for exactly what the fuck is happening. The eyes are useless when the mind is blind. And then I saw this Project Nightfall shit. I can't even believe people are falling for this shit. Everything to do with the bitten apple.
Apple just started selling a
Alright, let me get this.
Apple just started selling a product that will change the world. It could be the death of all smartphones. It could be the death of humanity we know today.
Big screen TV set up on my wall. Gordon Ramsay showing me how to cook above the stove. Notes right here for some groceries.
Because similar to how iPhones changed the way entire world works, this gadget could redesign our humanity. And we need to talk about this. I mean, just look at this for a moment. We might be experiencing the next step of people isolating from each other and becoming more interested in the virtual world than ever before, where your reality becomes one with the digital world.
You can now watch a movie on a huge screen in a stunning location. And you control just how immersed you want to be.
I'm not going to play this whole thing, but it's there if anybody would like to check it out, how disorienting it is when these people take this thing off, and it's going to lead to the most depression fucking ever. And
not going to force me or my kids to eat gross things just because it's healthy. So people would rather stay addicted to drugs is what it is. This video is not honestly in response to her. I know when someone's too far gone and I'm not concerned about the conversation anymore, but it's a great opportunity to talk about something. People have no idea what happens to their brain, literally the wiring, the neurons in your brain when you are eating diets like that. Do you know that those companies hire scientists, psychologists? They hire so many people that are highly trained in their specialties to make their food as addictive as they possibly can, down to the way that the food...
Tell us how many, I know you don't have to tell us the exact names, but just tell us how many ingredients are in what you refer to as Chic-Fil-A.
Well, it's a play on words, of course, and you got to be... Black people, they when I said McDevils, everybody was like, ha, ha, ha. I said Taco Hell, ha, ha, ha. White Casket instead of White Castle, ha, ha, ha. Kentucky Fried Chicken, ha ha ha. When I said Long John Killers, they was fine. When I said the Murder King, they was fine. But black people got an emotional attachment to this Chick-fil-A spot. So when I said Chick-fil-A, well, I had to get extra security. So I was sitting one day drinking some coffee, and I was looking at the line at Chick-fil-A. 3 lines starting at 10:30 in the morning, and I stayed there for an hour. It never let up. I said, ain't no way in hell that a chicken sandwich tastes that good. So I said, let me see. I wonder what they putting in it. And I started doing the research right at the time that you remember, in the hood, there was this argument, Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A, and everybody was going back and forth. And you seen people at Popeyes, man got shot. The man shot somebody because they didn't have no more chicken sandwiches left. I said, this ain't no regular chicken sandwiches. So I went and looked up Popeyes chicken sandwich. Come to find out, they have over 40 ingredients in the Popeyes chicken sandwich. 32 of them were man-made chemicals. And I said, well, let's see what Chick-fil-A has. Over 50 chemicals in the chicken sandwich. Over 40 of them were man-made chemicals. I said, so hell, this is a dope sandwich. So they really are flipping birds over there. Because there's no way in the world to justify. So whenever I seen that, I said it in a message. And someone took the clip of it and then went on the website of Chick-fil-A, had it broke down where they were clicking on it, showing all of the ingredients and these chemicals that were in it. Do you know the next day, Chick-fil-A took that down off their website? So now you can't find the ingredients to the Chick-fil-A sandwich or the Popeyes chicken sandwich because they don't want you to know that they're drugging you, they're doping you, that they have you wanting the food not for nutritional value, but because you become addicted by the MSG and the other chemicals that they've inserted in that also are immune system disruptors. They ill affect your brain, mess with your arteries, and any foreign substance automatically activates the immune system, which means our bodies, when we eat this kind of food, they're fighting an unnecessary battle. So when the real battles of disease show up, the systems are too worn out by fighting these small battles every day from bad eating that they can't handle a virus when it shows up. So it'll do us a great service. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this, he said, you must get your mouth out of the white man's kitchen. And remember this, the minister said this, whoever controls your kitchen controls your revolution. Because food affects mood. We are what we think, but we also are what we eat. And if we have the wrong teacher multiplied by the wrong diet, we're going to engage in the wrong activity and success won't be ours.
You have a cool.
All goes down to, boils back down to gut health, it looks like. And they do this shit so annoyingly. Like, remember a couple of years ago, maybe it was when Trump was in office, that there was all of that shit about Chick-fil-A and all of this drama politically stirred up surrounding Chick-fil-A that really wrapped the lines around the building even more so, because Chick-fil-A is a Christian business. It's a Christian company, just like the owner of Earl Enterprises and Buca de Beppo and Bravo and all of these totally demonically overrun buildings and agendas. Chick-fil-A got in a bunch of political shit before for being respectful of Christians and being closed on Sundays and all of this shit. And then the left railed against that. So then the supporters of the right started supporting Chick-fil-A even harder. And they think that they're eating there all of the time within the last few years because they're just there supporting Christianity and the Christian conservative way. But in reality, they are so fucking addicted to the chemicals and all of this bullshit that they cannot even fucking tell. It's kind of like how Free Guy really boosted up the sales at Dunkin' and boosted up the sales at Starbucks and the McCafe shit and all things coffee and coffee house type things. Just by them implanting a coffee house into that hugely successful blockbuster movie, literally, it correlates directly with the boom in sales and addiction at these places. And I wonder what kind of chemicals they're putting into that bullshit. Toodles.
The food crunches in your mouth. So yeah, if someone eats a lot of highly processed food, it's supposed to be addictive. It's supposed to be the most enjoyable. They want you to overeat. And so when you then try to eat plain whole foods, yeah, it's gonna probably be pretty gross to you. You don't have an acquired taste for real food anymore because your body and your brain are so used to eating those things. So then when you try to not eat those things, it's similar to withdrawing from drugs. Yeah, because it's a drug. And you know how people struggle with becoming sober because their brain is used to being high? Yeah, you have to literally figure out how to enjoy eating healthy food. It's not easy. A lot of people don't want to do it, and they don't have to. But it's wild that people will, have this whole mindset and then very obviously struggle with a lot of health conditions and then complain about those health conditions as if it's not like so obvious and smacking you in the face. I can't lose weight. I'm overweight. I have severe hormonal imbalances. I have crazy allergies. I've got eczema, acne. Yeah, of course you do. And I'm really convinced that the absolute disinterest and lack of motivation for changing that is because of the highly processed food. It seriously turns people into zombies. It's actually really eerie.
It's super eerie, and that is all things that I, as an overweight person, have to rebound from. I was just smashed awake and just left what the hell? I'm going to tack on this video of what this guy is saying about Chick-fil-A and Popeyes and shit, because I know I have it saved on my phone and I can just edit it in. But then there was, I think, this video.
I was today years old when I found out.
What if I could tell you that 98% of women that have breast cancer have a root canal tooth on the same side as their offending breast cancer?
What if I told you that the biggest toxic influence in the body in a chronically ill person is a root canal tooth?
What if I could tell you that the leading authority in cardiovascular prevention, which is Balan-Donine, does not condone root canals in your mouth because of the bacteria?
Of the people that come to see me with chronic illness, the question is how many of them have a dental etiology to the cause of their illness? I would say almost all of them.
The vast majority of chronic degenerative diseases begin with problems in the mouth, infections and toxins, and it's only until those are addressed that you're going to get any clear positive response with your disease.
The reason that root canals have an inherent problem is that because we know that nowhere else in the body can we leave dead tissue. Anywhere else in the body, your appendix dies, you have dead tissue that doesn't heal in any other area of the body, we know we have to remove that because it's a haven for bacteria and it's not compatible with health. And the same is true in a tooth. A tooth is a living structure, has a blood supply, has a nerve supply. And so when a tooth dies or becomes infected and we decide to go in and do a root canal, even the best endodontist or root canal specialist can do a great job at cleaning out the main canal of any of the teeth. But what they can't get to are all of these thousands of tubules. You can see if you cut a tooth in half or under a microscope, you can see these thousands of tubules that run out in every different direction at all sorts of angles off from the main canal.
Those microtubules are big enough for a bacteria to fit in, but not much else. And the problem is if you've got 6 to 8 miles of microtubules in a single tooth, it's impossible. You can see why it's impossible to sterilize that tooth.
So, after the root canal has been performed, unfortunately, bacteria still reside within the tooth. And now you have this nice, warm, incubated tooth where the bacteria are able to flourish. And now there is no access from the patient's own immune system to the tooth because in the process of doing the root canal treatment, the blood supply and the nerve have been severed from that tooth. So now the body can't deliver its own immune defenses to help keep the infection in check.
Absolutely disgusting. Just like how the CIA has dentists on payroll where they can put dues into people's dentures and into people's mouths like that. It is absolutely disgusting. Everything to do with the fucking medical community in the United States. These doctors are totally fucking ridiculous. Oh, it's so bad. How does that make sense to leave a root canal tooth into somebody's mouth? And I had a tooth that was root canaled before. They root canaled it and crowned it. Within 1 month of them root canaling and crowning it, it abscessed again and had to be pulled out anyway. Like, they have been attacking our mouths with sweets and drugs so that everybody's teeth are crumbling infrastructures and literally leading to so many infections and problems and act like it's not happening. It's just so wild.